When I found out that my daughters had set up my wife's cheating, I retaliated harshly. I cut off their financial support and kicked them out of the house. But what I did after that shocked everyone. Let me tell you the story from the very beginning. Sleep's been dodging me again. It's turned into this messed up routine by now, me flat on my back, staring at those faint beams of streetlight sneaking through the blinds, my brain twisting itself into a pretzel. I've spent so many nights eyeballing those dim streaks that I could draw them from memory, skinny, pale lines splashed across the ceiling, sliced up by the shadow of that lazy overhead fan. The clock's red glow flicked from 3 a.m. to 3:15, each minute jabbing at me like a bully, reminding me time's marching on while I'm stuck wide awake, drowning in my own head. That sick, swirling feeling in my gut. It's an old buddy now, like some shadowy critter chewing me up from the inside. Emma, my wife, was crashed out next to me, sprawled out in her usual chaotic style, one leg poking out from the sheets, an arm slung over a pillow, her hair a wild mess around her face. Normally, I'd think it's kinda cute, but lately, it's like there's this invisible wall splitting us apart. The way she's been sleeping feels fake somehow, like she's deliberately got her back to me, shutting me out. It leaves me feeling like a lonely sap. We've been hitched for 30 years, me and Emma, but the last month or so flipped everything upside down. That creeping vibe that something's wrong. It's been pouring fuel on my insomnia, turning it into a roaring blaze. She's different now. Not in some predictable midlife meltdown way, nothing small or sneaky. It's how she is in the sack that's thrown me for a loop. Our old bedroom routine used to be steady, maybe not fireworks, but reliable. Now, she's chucked that playbook out the window. She's gotten wild, fierce, almost pushy about it. She's pulling out moves we never even talked about, touching me in spots she used to wrinkle her nose at, and letting out sighs like she's trying out for some film. You'd figure I'd be over the moon, and yeah, part of me was stoked at first. But the sudden switch flipped on warning lights in my head, big, flashing ones you can't ignore. Where'd she pick this up? Why's it happening now, after 30 years of pretty tame action? My paranoid brain latched onto one ugly answer that hit me like a punch to the gut. She's gotta be mimicking someone else's tricks, or worse, rehearsing for M. Sounds nuts, right? But once that thought dug its claws in, I couldn't shake it loose. A buddy of mine, sloshed on beers one night, tossed out a half-joking line, "Man, that's a dead giveaway. If your wife goes from vanilla to vixen overnight, sneak a peek at her phone." He was just messing around, but it stuck with me like glue. Then I started clocking more stuff. She's got these new clothes showing up, she's dabbing on perfume just to hit the grocery store, and that phone of hers. It's glued to her hand, with a fresh lock code I don't know. That churning dread in me cranked up a notch. Every day, I'm sneaking looks at her face, hunting for a flicker of guilt or some hidden secret. Every night, I'm running through her new bedroom quirks in my head, every odd sound, every distant stare when she thinks I'm not looking. My throat's dry as hell, my heart's thumping too hard, and I croak out her name into the dark. Emma. She barely twitches, her breathing steady as ever. Maybe she's out cold, or maybe she's faking it. Either way, her not talking, or not being able to, lights a spark of anger in me that I can't smother. I roll onto my side, trying to shove it down, but it's a losing battle. Finally, I crank up my voice. "Emma, come on. I know you're not dead asleep." She shifts, letting out this low, ticked-off groan. That's her answer, she's awake but not in the mood to deal with me. My pulse jacks up. I hate thinking she's brushing me off on purpose, especially when I'm about to blow a gasket. "Why are you so different in bed now?" I blurt out, no sugarcoating it. "I've known you for over a quarter of a century, and all of a sudden, you're a stranger. You picking this up from some online video, or did you learn it, with somebody else?" She's still got her back to me, but I can feel her tense up. "It's 3 in the friggin' morning," she mumbles. "Not now." "No, It's now, I snap back. I'm not sleeping anyway. You're driving me up the wall here. Are you fooling around? Is that why she flips onto her back, hair spilling over the pillow. You're paranoid, she cuts in sharp. Why can't it just be me wanting something new? My hands are shaking now. Because you used to act like some stuff grossed you out, now you're pulling it off like you've got a playbook from a seasoned pro. Don't try to twist this, I know you too well. This ain't just you suddenly getting adventurous. She slaps an arm over her forehead. Oh my God, Ryan, drop it. I'm wiped out. My temper flares hotter. Yeah, real convenient. You've got plenty of energy for your new bedroom stunts, but when I want straight answers, you're too tired. Her palm smacks the mattress, hard. Shut it, she hisses. I can't deal with you right now. I glare into the shadows, adrenaline pumping wild. Fine, dodge me again. Act like this doesn't matter. She snatches a spare pillow, bolts up, and stomps across the room. The hallway light catches her clenched jaw and blazing eyes. I'm crashing in the guest room, she says, voice trembling. Have fun with your lonely night. I can't hold it in. Don't forget your phone, might need it if one of your side guys texts, I sneer. She freezes, her outline stiff as a board. You'll wish you didn't say that, she whispers, tears creeping into her voice. You're such a... Before she can finish, I cut her off, words flying like venom. I got a private eye tailing you. I'll have the full scoop soon enough. Her gasp slices through the air. She doesn't say a damn thing, just bolts, leaving the door swinging wide. A beat later, the guest room door slams, and I hear muffled crying. It stings my chest, but I'm too pissed to chase after her. I'm stuck glaring at the dark ceiling, fists balled up, caught in this brutal mess of suspicion and regret. Morning rolls around, and I'm out of the house before the sun's up, anything to skip another round of that hostility. My eyes are stinging from no sleep, nerves jangling like loose wires. I hit the gym like a madman, slamming the treadmill, heaving weights till my arms feel like jelly. The ache in my muscles somehow dulls the crap storm in my head. After a shower, I catch my face in the locker room mirror. My hair's gone gray at the edges, used to be solid brown. Wrinkles are digging in around my eyes, and a stubborn bit of gut hangs on no matter what. I'm 45, 46 creeping up fast, and I feel every damn year of it. But what hits me hardest in that reflection? The hollow, scared look staring back, a guy who's terrified his wife's stepping out and praying he's wrong. I had to swing by the house for some work papers anyway. I braced myself, praying Emma'd be long gone by the time I got there. Pulling into the driveway, I saw her car wasn't around, thank the Lord for small mercies. I stepped through the front door, my brain already half checked out, drifting to the day's to-do list, when voices trickled down from upstairs. My girls' voices. That froze me right in my tracks. Sophia's 19, Olivia's 22, both off at college most of the time. They don't just pop by out of the blue, so maybe Emma had called Em over. I hovered at the bottom of the stairs, ears perked, trying to catch what they were saying. Their tones were tight, barely above a whisper. Mom's gone way overboard, Olivia was muttering. She told me she's been using that Pure app to hook up with guys. Said it's a breeze to keep it under Dad's nose, easier than I'd ever guess. I didn't think she'd actually go through with it. My blood turned to slush in my veins. I crept closer, flattening myself against the wall like some kind of spy. Sophia's voice shook, heavy with regret. We kinda put the idea in her head, didn't we? That whole open marriage thing. We tossed it out there, thinking it might shake things up for Em, but I never dreamed she'd take it and run wild, banging random dudes. Open marriage. The words ricocheted around my skull like a pinball on a bender. My own daughters had pitched that to her, and Emma'd grabbed it like a lifeline. Olivia let out this pitiful little whimper. Now she's sneaking around behind Dad's back with these guys. God, if he finds out we basically handed her the playbook, he's gonna despise us. I feel like puking. Something in me cracked wide open. My kids, whether they meant to or not, had pretty much drawn up the map for their mom to stab me in the back. I swallowed hard, choking down the rage so I could keep eavesdropping. Sophia let out a long, tired sigh. We just wanted Em to patch things up. Mom kept griping she was bored stiff, that Dad never paid attention to what she needed. We figured some folks do that open thing, you know, talk it out, make it work. We thought they'd hash it out together. Olivia's voice wobbled like she was on the edge. She didn't even tell Dad. Just dove right in. She's on that dating app, chasing thrills with strangers. This is so screwed up. I couldn't take it anymore. My head was a blender of pain, betrayal, and flat-out confusion. Holding it together felt like walking a tightrope with no net. I backed off from the stairs and hollered up, my voice cutting through the quiet like a thunderclap. Sophia. Olivia. Get your butts down here, now. Silence slammed down fast. I caught the sound of frantic scrambling, then both their faces peeked over the railing. Sophia looked white as a ghost. Olivia's eyes were shiny with tears. They came down slow, like they were marching to face a firing line. I crossed my arms tight. What in the hell did I just overhear? Sophia opened her mouth to stammer something, but Olivia jumped in, blurting, "Dad, it's not what you're thinking." I threw up a hand to stop her cold. Don't even try to soft pedal this. I just heard you two yakking about pushing your mom toward an open marriage. You pointed her at that Sparksphere app, didn't you? They swapped a panicked glance. Sophia gulped hard. Dad, we never told her to sneak around on you. We just said maybe an open setup could help if you both signed off on it. Mom was miserable, always moaning you wouldn't switch things up. We figured if you did it as a team, she wouldn't feel so boxed in. My heart was pounding like a jackhammer. You hear how messed up that sounds? You're my girls. You basically handed your mom a free pass to mess around. No. Olivia cried out, tears streaking her face. We just brought it up, Dad. She swore she'd talk to you first. We didn't think she'd go behind your back. I shot Em a glare, rage and hurt swirling in my chest like a tornado. Well, look how that panned out. She's out there hooking up with random guys, and my own daughters lit the fuse without even knowing it. I can't wrap my head around this. They stepped toward me, arms reaching out. We're so sorry, Sophia whispered. Please, we love you. We didn't mean for this. I couldn't even meet their eyes. I locked my stare on the stairs, the carpet, anything but them. Fury bubbled up hot. Get out, I growled, voice stretched tight. I can't look at you right now. Dad, Olivia begged, sobbing hard. Go. I bellowed, the sound bouncing off the walls like a gunshot. I need space. Head back to campus. Do whatever, just leave me be. They bolted, faces wet with tears, snatching their bags and tripping over themselves to get out the door. The air still hummed with the echo of my blow-up, and I felt a piece of me wither inside. My own girls. How could they, even by accident, set this train wreck in motion? That afternoon, I met Thomas, the private eye I'd hired a few weeks back, at this greasy little diner on the outskirts of town. Thomas is in his 60s, lean, tough, with a mop of wiry white hair. Guy's been digging up dirt for decades, seen it all, but his eyes carried this heavy pity as he waved me into the booth. Ryan, he said, voice low and serious, I've got a lot more since we last talked. He flipped open a folder stuffed with photos, phone logs, and typed-up notes. My gut twisted into a knot. The top shot showed Emma climbing out of her car in a tight dress I'd never seen before. Another caught her strolling into a highway motel, arm hooked with some bald dude. Time stamps showed just days between m. I forced my eyes to stay on the pics. Thomas tapped the first one. This guy's Mason, one of her regulars. They linked up through Sparksphere. Met 3 times, once at a cafe downtown, once at that motel, and once at his place. My head throbbed. Emma at some dude's apartment? How long? Doing what? He slid over more photos. This one's Ethan, from Bay State. They picked a spot halfway between for dinner, then holed up at a bed and breakfast for hours. I tailed M till they checked in. 4 hours later, they split separate. It felt like a knife twisting slow in my chest. But Thomas wasn't done. He pulled out text screenshots. This is from a guy calling himself Nakaman, real name Noah. They only met once, but the messages? Pretty damn graphic. I skimmed the texts, stomach churning. Noah, you into it rough? Got some wild toys. Could bring a buddy for a group thing if you're game. Emma 69, not sure yet, but hashtag YOLO, right? Let's see if I'm feeling bold. I wanted to hurl. This was my wife. The woman who used to scoff at anything spicier than missionary was now tossing out, "You only live once," to strangers. Thomas shut the folder gentle-like when he saw my face twist up. "Sorry, man," he said. "Just wanted you to know how deep it goes." I tried swallowing, but my mouth was dry as a desert. "Thanks, Thomas. Send me the bill." He nodded. I shoved out of the booth, stumbled to my car with the folder tucked under my arm, my whole world spinning like a top. That night, I laid out the photos and texts across the dining table, an ugly collage of backstabbing. Emma rolled in later. I heard her steps falter in the foyer, maybe she sniffed out that I had the goods. She walked into the room, eyes darting to the table. Her face went ghost white. "What? What's all this?" I tapped the papers, voice flat. "Take a look. Looks like your little side gig's been mapped out," I said, voice flat as I tapped the papers. A full rundown: who, when, where. Mason, Ethan, Noah, Nakaman. Ring any bells? Emma's jaw dropped, but nothing came out at first. Then she rasped, "This is a total violation of my privacy." I let out a dry, bitter chuckle. "Oh, yeah. Me catching my wife messing around with a bunch of guys, that's me stepping on your toes." Her glare hit me hard, tears pooling in her eyes. "I told you I was craving something exciting, Ryan. I dropped hints all the time. So now it's my fault, huh?" I cranked my volume up, shoving the photos right in her face. "This is what you call exciting? You know the girls spilled the beans about how they floated that open marriage idea. Said you promised you'd run it by me first." She went rigid, a mix of shame and defiance flashing across her face. "I knew you'd shoot it down. You're too stuck in your ways." I cut her off sharp. "So instead of sitting me down like a grown-up, you took their half-baked suggestion and ran with it, straight to some app for quick hookups. Then you fed me lies for weeks." Her eyes sparked with fire. "I had to. You'd have slammed the door on it, like you always do." I was suffocating, trapped in the same old grind for years. "And banging strangers behind my back fixed that, did it?" I shot back, my voice shaking with fury. "You let M try stuff you wouldn't even touch with me. That's what guts me, you flipped some switch for them and never even thought to clue me in." She bit her lip, tears streaking down her face. "I was scared. Scared you'd look at me different, or worse, just say no flat out." I felt cornered. Something inside me broke loose. "You had options, Emma. If you were that miserable, you could have walked out clean with a divorce. Instead, you hollowed out our marriage like a damn termite. She slammed her hand on the table, voice cracking. I felt like I couldn't speak up. You steamroll everything, always calling the shots. I had to bust loose somehow. You busted it all to hell, I fired back. Nice job. She was trembling now, snatching her purse and bolting upstairs. I slumped into a chair, staring at those pictures, feeling like I'd just survived an explosion and was stuck sifting through the rubble. A couple days later, I was back at the house, grabbing stuff for a lawyer. The air between me and Emma was thick enough to choke on, pure nuclear vibes, but she wasn't around that morning, which was a relief. Then the front door creaked open, and I heard my girls calling out. Dad, you here? My spine stiffened, the sting of their betrayal still fresh and raw. They shuffled into the living room, faces tight with worry. Olivia piped up first, her voice wobbly. Dad, we're so sorry. We've barely caught a wink of sleep over this. We never meant to kick off this mess. Sophia nodded, looking wrecked. We feel like garbage. That open marriage thing, we thought it'd be a way for you two to figure stuff out together. We didn't see Mom going rogue without you. I turned to face Em slow, my tone icy. You think that makes it better? I'm pissed as hell, at your mom for stepping out, and at you two for planting the seed. They looked like I'd slapped Em. Olivia's eyes welled up fast. Dad, all we had was Mom's side. She said you were checked out, never hearing her out. We bought it, figured you wouldn't even entertain a new angle. A harsh laugh slipped out of me. So your big fix was her hooking up with random dudes. Real forward thinking, huh? Sophia sighed, tears sliding down her cheeks. We didn't tell her to cheat, Dad. We just said if you both agreed, it might shake things up. A friend's folks did it, and it worked for them. We're sorry. Rage and hurt duked it out in my chest. I don't know if I can let this slide, I said straight up. I love you girls, but I can't just shrug off how you pretty much greenlit her screwing around. They both broke down, sobs ripping out of Em, twisting my insides up. I wrestled with the urge to hug Em tight, dad instincts clashing hard with my anger. Finally, I gritted out, I need time. Go back to school. Stay clear of this mess for now. Let me deal with the fallout. Olivia choked on a cry. But Dad, no, I cut in firm. I can't look at you without seeing how this all started. I need breathing room. They hung there a sec, tears pouring, but I turned my back. They shuffled out, and the door clicked shut. The silence after hit like a brick wall. I crashed onto the couch, hands over my face, wishing I could spin the clock back 1,000 times. That night, I hightailed it to my folks' place, a simple little house across town. They're in their 65s, always had my back, though we're not big on spilling our guts as a family. Still, me showing up with a suitcase threw Em for a loop. Ryan, what's going on? Mom asked, eyes wide with worry. Let's just say me and Emma are hitting a rough patch, I muttered, voice tight. They pried it out of me bit by bit, each piece hurting like hell. I skipped the nitty-gritty about the open marriage mess or the girl's role, just said Em had been cheating, a lot, and divorce was on the table. They were floored, quietly fuming at her. Dad kept mumbling, unbelievable, while Mom fussed over how I looked like I hadn't slept in days. I crashed on their sofa bed, staring at the ceiling. It felt safer than home, but the ache in my chest wouldn't quit. Next morning, I figured I'd head back when Emma wasn't around, grab more of my stuff. Sharing a roof with her now? No chance in hell. When I rolled up the next day, there she was, pacing the living room, phone gripped tight. She spun on me as I walked in. Did you tell your parents? She barked, eyes blazing. They've been lighting up my phone, voicemails, calling me a disgrace, saying I've shamed the family. I tossed my keys on the counter with a clang. Yeah, I told Em. They asked why I bailed. I gave M the truth. Her face twisted up in anger. You had no business turning them against me. This is between us. Hard to keep it hush-hush when you're shacking up in motels, I snapped back. You made a fool of me, I'm not sweating your hurt feelings now. Her grip on the phone tightened, knuckles going white. What, you get off on seeing me trashed like this? That your game? I huffed out a sharp breath. Save it. You're acting like you're proud of this crap. You told the girls you were bored stiff. Bragged to M about your app hookups. I've got 0 tears for your poor me act. She stepped toward me, eyes shining with tears. You don't get how smothering this marriage got. You never heard me out, everything had to be your call. I was desperate. Desperate enough to sneak around with half a dozen guys, I spat, venom dripping. If it was that awful, you should have walked out first. She shook her head, tears breaking free. I screwed up, all right. But you're no angel. Take a good look at yourself. Oh, I have, I growled, and I see a guy who's been fed lies. I'm a guy who's had it with your excuses, I said, voice hard as steel. I'm filing for divorce. For a split second, her face crumpled like she might beg me to stop. Then, quick as a light switch, she smirked. Fine by me. Good luck finding some poor sap to put up with your stiff, dull ways. Maybe your next wife won't need a gym coach to teach her tricks behind your back. That jab hit like a sucker punch, and I nearly lunged at her. Instead, I shoved past, snagging a pile of papers off the table and storming for the door. She yanked it open wide, practically pushing me out with a final icy stare. When it slammed shut, I felt this weird mashup of rage and release, like the end was finally sinking in. Ava, a good buddy who also happens to be my boss, owns this little cottage by the lake, about a half-hour drive out. When I spilled my guts to her about everything, she tossed me the keys, saying I could crash there a while. I rolled up with a couple suitcases, still dizzy from that blowout with Emma. The place was snug but stuck in time, creaky floors, basic setup with a living room, a tiny kitchen, a bedroom, and a bathroom. A big window looked out over the lake, all shiny and framed by pine trees. Even with my head a mess, that water rippling in the breeze gave me a flicker of peace. First night there, sleep dodged me again, but at least I wasn't stuck in a combat zone anymore. I wandered the tight living room, phone in hand, dodging Emma's calls and firing off short replies to the girls' constant pings, half apologies, half panic. I'm fine, need space, I'd text back, keeping it clipped. Over the next few days, I tried piecing together some kinda rhythm. Work kept me busy with Zoom calls, phone meetings, and a flood of emails. When the walls started creeping in, I'd hit the shore for a walk or rent a kayak. Paddling till my arms burned gave me a quick break from the bitter stew churning in my skull. But every time my mind wandered, it'd flash these ugly snapshots, Emma and her buddies, like a twisted slideshow. Those texts about #YOLO, you only live once. That odd guy going on about her feet, admiring their shape. The flirty vibes at that bed and breakfast. Each one twisted my gut all over again. About a week in, I heard tires crunching outside one morning. Next thing, there's this soft tap at the door. I cracked it open, and there's Sophia and Olivia, looking nervous as hell, holding takeout coffee cups in a paper bag. I just stared, not ready to dive into some big feelings talk. They must have clocked it in my face, 'cause Olivia jumped in quick. We're sorry for popping up like this, Dad. We just really need to hash things out. Sophia held out a cup. Got your favorite, mocha latte. I took it slow, wary, but stepped aside to let him in. The place was small, so we all kinda hovered around the little dining table. I cleared my throat. Told you I needed some room. Olivia plopped the pastry bag down, twisting her hands. We get that, but we can't just leave you hanging. You're our dad, we see how bad this is tearing you up. Yeah, Sophia chimed in. We wanted to check if there's anything we can do to patch this mess up. My anger was still simmering, but it had dulled into this heavy, worn-out ache. I waved Em to sit. I don't even know where to start with you two, I said low. You're my girls, but you nudged your mom toward a fix that cut me out. How do I get over that? Tears welled in Sophia's eyes. We were idiots, Dad. Thought we were being all progressive, helpful. On campus, everyone's yapping about poly this, open that, it felt normal. Olivia nodded hard. We didn't want her cheating on you. Figured if you both bought in, it'd ease the strain. But Mom just took off with it solo. I let out a tired sigh. And you see how that crashed and burned. They swapped guilty looks. Olivia pushed on. Dad, we love you. We love Mom too, but she blew it. We never meant for you to feel stabbed in the back by us. Maybe not, I shot back, but that's what went down. Every time this disaster pops in my head, I hear you two pitching her that damn app. That Sparksphere crap's just a hookup buffet, no strings, all meat. Sophia dropped her head. We know. She told us later it was easy and quiet, but it makes us nauseous thinking she ran with something we brought up. The fire in me was cooling, letting sadness sneak in. I swallowed hard, fighting tears. Look, I'm not locking you out of my life for good, but I'm raw right now. Can't just act like it's all fine. They started crying soft, and my chest squeezed tight. I reached across slow, letting them grab my hands. Blinking back my own tears, I felt some of that bitterness melt, just a bit, swapped out for regret over our family falling apart so bad. Sophia spoke through her sobs. We'll give you all the time you want, Dad. Promise. Olivia sniffled. Just need you to know we love you, and we're here if you need us. I nodded, throat too tight to talk. They gripped my hands, then stood for some stiff hugs before heading out, leaving me with a whirlwind of feelings. I flopped on the couch, tears finally spilling. Mad and betrayed as I was, I couldn't dodge how much I missed my girls. The weeks after dragged like I was wading through mud. I'd swing by the house now and then, check mail, snag papers, talk to realtors about unloading the place. Emma was hardly ever there when I showed up, which worked for me. The few times we crossed paths, the air snapped with tension. Once, I rolled in as she was heading out, rocking a short, tight skirt. She didn't say jack, just flicked me an irritated glance and peeled off. Part of me wondered which dude she was off to see this time. Word started spreading through our crew. Friends hit me up, some with, sorry, man, others sniffing for dirt. Isabella, one of them, let slip that Emmett bragged about hooking up with some guy into weird worship stuff. Another pal said they'd spotted her at a bar, all laughs and flirty with a tattooed guy. Made me queasy, but it nailed down the truth, she wasn't even pretending anymore. This was her now, or maybe who she'd always wanted to be. I'd try digging up the good old days sometimes, our early years, the wedding, the girls being born, but those memories got drowned out by her new life flashing in my face. It was like the woman I'd loved got swapped for some stranger crowing online about living my best life. She'd post club pics, slap on hashtags like #freedom, and share shots with guys' arms slung around her. Every glimpse stabbed me deep. I finally sat down with this lawyer, Charlotte, an old work pal of Ava's who's a pro at messy divorces. I dumped everything on her, the PI's dirt, bank records, the whole ugly pile. She flipped through it all, her face set in a grim nod. We're in an at-fault state, she laid out. Cheating's a big deal here, can swing alimony, how we split the stuff. You braced for a brawl. It might turn ugly. I let out a heavy breath. I just want this over, man, but I'm not letting her waltz off with my nest egg. She's the one who lied, who turned an app into her hookup playground. Charlotte clicked her pen on the table. If we push hard, we can probably lock down a deal that leans your way. But if her lawyer fires back with stuff like emotional neglect or you being a control freak, it could stretch out. Your call on how rough we play this. I rubbed my temples, feeling the weight. I'm pissed as hell, but I'm worn out too. Let's shoot for fair, not out for blood. I keep my retirement safe, and she can take her cut from selling the house. Charlotte gave a sharp nod. Got it. I'll get the paperwork rolling. A few weeks later, the last big showdown hit. I pulled up to the old house to go over listing stuff with a realtor. Emma was there, propped against the kitchen counter, glued to her phone. She barely flicked her eyes my way while the realtor poked around, jotting notes. When the realtor ducked out to check the backyard, Emma straightened up, arms crossed tight. We gotta figure out the house, she snapped, short and sharp. I'm not cleaning it. Hire some pros, you'll thank me. I let out a sour laugh. Wait, aren't you a real estate hotshot yourself? Or did that slip your mind? Can't handle a little elbow grease? She rolled her eyes hard. I sell places, not scrub them. Plus, I'm done jumping through hoops for you. I don't owe you squat. My temper flared hot. Right, my bad, you're too tied up chasing guys on Pure to bother with basic upkeep. Her eyes lit up with fire, and she stepped in close. Quit dragging that up. It's my life now. I'm not hiding anymore. I hissed low. Nah, you've made damn sure everyone knows you're proud of it. Foot freaks, #YOLO, all that crap you flaunt. Enjoy it while it lasts, she sneered back. You're so quick to judge. At least I'm not milking pity from every mutual friend we've got. My voice dropped, cold and steady. Don't kid yourself. Folks see what's real, that you stabbed me in the back. They can connect the dots. The air turned thick, choking with our anger. We stood there, a few feet apart, practically vibrating with hate. Right then, the realtor waltzed back in, plastering on a fake grin like she hadn't caught the tail end of our spat. We split apart, quiet, while she rattled off listing price ideas. The tension was so heavy it hurt. When she finally took off, I snatched my keys and bolted out the door without a word. Emma didn't bother stopping me. The day the divorce went through was a bleak, gray mess. Emma and I sat there, side by side, stone silent while our lawyers handled the chatter. The judge tossed out a few routine questions, then banged the gavel, boom, 30 years of marriage dead in a dull, clipped courtroom moment. Outside, we split off without even a nod. I watched her slide into her car, eyes anywhere but on me, face locked tight. This weird mix of relief, grief, and bile churned in my gut. I flashed back to that day we'd walked out of a different building, fresh married, the world wide open ahead. Now. This was the end game, quiet, frigid, busted beyond repair. I didn't let myself linger on what she'd do next. Probably line up more apt dudes. Hit the bars again, laughing it up.